It doesn't at all. It's a complete
Okay.
myth. I have made more than 70 or 80 referrals in past 2 months. So we don't realize that the cars and everything. It's just that our spending power is more because the culture here is to spend. Whereas the
Okay.
culture back in India, Amazon hires directly from any country into our Canada, right? So
Okay. Hey man, how is it going in Canada?
pretty good, pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. Yeah, it's going great in India also. So, let's talk today about your career journey, mostly like your promotions and your step to move to Canada. So let's first talk about this Canada thing. So like, suppose I am a college student, okay? So like, I also someday want to go to Canada or some other country. Like I remember from my school days, I saw my seniors going to some great companies. Like you are at Amazon. I saw a lot of people going to these great companies and then switching to US, Canada, and all these locations. So like, is it really worth it?
Okay, so there are multiple aspects to it, right? So
Okay.
ever since, so it's not like for me moving abroad
Mm.
was not that big of a reason to move
Okay.
because we're in the software industry, right? And
Mm-hmm.
India also offers good money, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for me, the motivation was the experience part of it, and for me,
Mm.
the primary reason has always been a good team, right? So for me, since
Okay.
I'm in my initial stages of my career, so for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's very important that I'm in the right setting so that I get the proper grooming for next
Mm.
path, right? For next steps of my career. For first 5 10 years, it's fine to stretch for me. So for me, when
Mm.
decided to move, I was pretty good in a pretty good team back in India. But
Mhm,
the team that I moved to, for me, that attracted me the most, not the money, not anything else, but
mhm,
definitely the second aspect is the experience part of it, right? So when
mhm,
you move to a different country, you're all alone,
mhm,
right? You try
mhm,
to push your horizons and your perspective
mhm,
of the world changes. You push
mhm,
yourself to the limits. And
mhm,
also, like, specifically Canada is very very beautiful. I'm right now based out of Vancouver, right? So it's
mhm,
very good. I'm a very outdoorsy person, so I love doing all
mhm,
those stuff, going for
mhm,
hikes and everything. So there are multiple aspects of whatever you find that could be all motivation. So for me,
mhm.
like, experience and my career was the motivation that led me here.
Okay. So like for most people, I think the motivation is just the money part and maybe having a foreign life. So like in terms of money, how much difference do you think it is there as compared to India? Like suppose yeah, that you are having an X standard of living in India. So how what would be your standard of living when you move specifically to Canada?
Okay, so one part about Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has slightly higher taxes than US, and the pay is around 30 40% less.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, the cost of living is also very high. So
Mm-hmm.
it's approximately 1.5 times, maybe 1.3 to 1.5 times expensive than Seattle. Not as expensive as Bay Area or maybe New York, right? But
Mm-hmm.
still, it's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So if you compare it money wise, then I would rate it in the following fashion. Right now, according to me, I'm not too sure. Probably I'm not very much updated at the moment. Europe is, I'll put Europe at the bottom of the list, right, because of the
Mm-hmm.
taxes and the lower income. India is pretty good, very well staged at the moment. And then Canada comes slightly above India. So, for example, you're SD2 or maybe an SD1, right? SD1s now I don't know that much, but still the starting range you could potentially be saving 20 to 30% more over here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, After having a luxurious lifestyle, believe me,
Okay.
luxurious.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you're compromising. You're coming and staying in basement, so you can stay in downtown. You can do the best of the things. You can afford a car. That's all you can do. All that you could do in India, you can do here. But everything is comparatively very expensive. But here you could save out 20 30%. And I need not say about US, right? So US
Yeah.
definitely pays more. So Seattle has less taxes, as we all know.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that way, so if you want good experiences with more savings,
Mm.
definitely Canada is a place, and easy immigration definition, definitely.
Okay. And like a lot of people have this kind of like they fantasize these locations and they think that their life would drastically change. Like all party culture in some international country, you get good cars at low rates, like you drive a Range Rover. And how have things changed for you? Like in as if you compare your personal life in India as compared to Canada.
Okay, two things. One thing is like obviously when you're earning here and if you go back to India,
Mm-hmm.
definitely you feel very rich, right? And everything's very cheap, comes very cheap to you. Second
Okay.
thing is like when you come over here and things are very expensive. I mean, we don't realize that, right? So my office
Mm-hmm.
is like 2 kilometers away, and I pay like $15
Okay.
for one way side, right?
Mm.
So we don't realize that the cars and everything. It's just that our spending power is more because the culture here is to spend, whereas the
Okay.
culture back in India is to save, right? The
Save.
culture
Mm.
here is to spend. They promote you to spend. So for even if you go for a car, you'll find okay, car rates are lower. At the moment, I don't think so. They are low. So I have recently
Mm.
looked up for some cars, and it's pretty expensive here also.
Okay.
And same goes for housing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
uh, it doesn't make sense to whatever notions people have when they
Mm.
come here and they see the amount of money that they're earning. Now it's fine if back in India, right? Whatever amount of money you earn, you won't be spending 40 to 50% of your salary into rents. Here, you
Mm-hmm.
potentially could breach that bracket where you're spending 40% of your salaries into rent, or maybe
Mm.
20% for up to 20% on your car. That doesn't happen back in India, right?
India.
So,
Yeah. Mm.
so if you compare the ratios, it's
Mm.
on the higher end only, but it
Mm.
feels cheaper somehow because there's more spending
Okay.
appetite here.
Okay. So, like a lot of people, what they think or what they do is that they will go to some abroad place. Like, let's talk about just Canada for now. They'll go to Canada, earn for some years, and then come back to India. So, how much can someone save in, let's say, 5, 6 years? Can someone save enough to buy a house in India? Like, assuming the houses in India are more than a crore, suppose.
So if you're okay, I'll be very honest and candid. If you're an SD2 who's like in a good band, right,
Hmm.
slightly experienced, you could do that very easily in 2 years. So
2 years. Okay.
yeah, very easily 2.5 years probably,
Hmm.
depends on your how much you're spending here. And
Hmm.
this is I'm saying based on if you spend a lot, not a lot, but you're slightly in the higher bracket. If you want to save more, you could potentially do it early, right?
Okay.
I think we'll quite to the compensation part of it because the way we get compensation is slightly different, right?
Hmm.
Um, and that ways you end up saving some money, which
Hmm.
and also so the money that you save is very less for here, right? But
Hmm.
definitely the impact that you have when you go back to India is it amounts
That's
to a
more.
lot of money.
So, the next thing I would think is the work-life balance. So, how has the work-life balance changed or the culture of work? Like, there are different people. So, like, as you talked in India, that the culture is of saving. So, in the work side also, there is a different culture. I think you would have experienced with the people you are working in India and the people you are working in Canada. So, like, what difference did you observe, or was it the same?
Okay, so one thing that we all need to understand is that wherever you go, you're probably working. If you're working in a software company, 60 or 70% people is like Indians, right? At the moment. So
Hmm.
basically, no matter how much you try and dig different people, sixty
Hmm.
percent to 70% of your teammates would essentially end up being Indians. So that's the case for
Hmm.
my team also here, right?
Hmm.
But apart from this, there are a lot of local people here and people from different communities. So you interact with them, right, and you get to understand their culture. So one drastic difference that I've noted is back in India, it was very normal to ping after 5, right? So here we
Hmm.
stop pinging after 4. So 4 or 5 ish, like so 5 is the
Hmm.
limit. You go till 5 and then you probably apologizing. Oh, sorry, I'm pinging you late.
Okay. Hmm.
But post 4, it's like no, it's a big deal to ping it, after 4. So that's one
Okay.
difference.
So what
But
about on call? On call is 24 hours, right? How do you ping someone like you want someone's help during an on call? So what do you do in that scenario?
that's fine. Everyone is very helpful in that ways because everyone is very accommodating and understands. So
Hmm.
people are very nice and they're very accommodating that ways. I have had some
Hmm.
issues during my launches, right? Where at the
Hmm.
4 o'clock in the night we face some issue and until 7 in the morning there are like 7, 8
Hmm.
people on the call. All the managers are there.
Okay.
Everyone is there, right? To do some RCA and to understand what's probably going on. Right?
Hmm.
So that ways it's fine. But for me, I have not faced a lot of on call here because my team is pretty new, so I have not had
Hmm.
that on call experience. But on call experience, as you know, Sukrit, that
Hmm.
it's very much same across Amazon, if not worse than AWS, right? So
Hmm.
that's that.
Okay. Okay. So like considering all these things that we just discussed about, let's suppose someone wants to come to Canada. Like, let's discuss two types of people. First is someone who has just graduated from college and he wants to go to some abroad location and mostly Canada. And the other is someone who is experienced, has 2 3 years of experience and want to come to Canada. So, like, what would be the paths? Is it even possible for both of these guys? And what would be the path you would say that's the best possible thing?
Okay, so I'll start with the second thing, right? So
Hmm.
recently I've had like 3 or 4 people, some colleagues of mine who are like outside Amazon, and some I am into the process of getting them to the system, getting the interview schedule. So these are people who are outside Amazon working in India. So if you're
Hmm.
an SD2, right, or maybe not even SD2, if you have more than 2 years of experience and if you can give an interview,
Hmm.
Amazon hires directly from any country into our Canada, right? So
Okay.
there also they give two kind of options. So I've been part of both the processes. So and a lot of people from a couple of people that I know from Google are joining Amazon Canada and everything. So the options that usually Amazon gives is like you probably want to join right away, then you can report in Amazon India and work in an away team thing, right? From away, work
Hmm.
from away. In the meantime, your visa process Amazon simplifies. In the second case is like you keep on working for your company and Amazon starts your visa process, and once your
Hmm.
visa is ready you can file in your termination with your older company and then you can start with this company. So it's
Okay.
just that the matter of finding a right manager and right person. So you have to keep looking for opportunities because there are a lot of managers out there who are keeping their LinkedIn's posted and up to date based
Hmm.
on whether they are hiring directly in Canada. And this is specific to Canada, not
Hmm.
SD1, SD2 and plus. So
Hmm.
US it's very slightly difficult, but Canada specifically I've seen a lot of influx happening lately.
Hmm.
So this is for the second type of people. For the people who are first type, right? And first type I'll include college students and SD ones. So I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of SD ones who reach out to me because like
Hmm.
I've been very actively involved in hiring because my team is expanding very heavily.
Hmm.
So my recommendation to them is spend some time, get promoted or maybe spend
Hmm.
some time there, and then it'll be very easy for you to come. Until otherwise, if you go into the other path which the students go, it's very
Hmm.
difficult for them. So that's the
Okay.
advice that I usually have for SD ones.
Hmm.
But for students, right, who want to come, I
Hmm.
think education is the only path. But
Okay.
I had a lot of discussions. I have seen a lot of people. So
Hmm.
if you're getting into college and you're doing engineering, that's fine,
Hmm.
right? You can come, you can easily get placed. Getting hired as an SD1 is way easier in here than compared to India. I've seen the interviews and everything. So
Hmm.
bar is slightly lower. Uh,
Okay.
so basically, if you come here, you basically do your 4 years, or maybe if you're doing masters, right? You come here, do masters and all those things, and then you get into the system. But it's the is the process of the whole process worth it or not? That
Hmm.
in my mind, in my perspective, is questionable. I
Hmm.
would suggest anyone to go to Amazon India or maybe Google India or maybe Microsoft India, because Microsoft has a big office in Canada, right? And
Hmm.
somewhere near Toronto, right? So Ontario. So these companies have big offices. So internal transfers are always easier, better. You get paid to come rather than you
Hmm.
spend. And
Hmm.
if you're coming here on education, dude, I have seen people work so much, and I don't know how much people get to spend time on their skills and everything. So
Hmm.
that way, that's how my recommendation goes. If you can join some company in India and then move, that's way
Hmm.
faster and way better.
So, like we just are on this topic of promotion. So you got your promotion in like 1.5 years, which is fairly fast. And so, what would you suggest for any SD who's looking to grow? Like, like keeping it generic across all companies. Like, what are the generic things that you think should be there to actually someone to grow the ladder?
Okay, so when you join, right? So there are two things. So if when I
Hmm.
joined, I guess I was not that tech savvy, right? I didn't have that
Hmm.
technical bend and technical edge.
Hmm.
But when I did start, so first thing is you have to have the passion, right? So
Hmm.
you can't force yourself into something and be great at it without having a passion for it. So you have to
Hmm.
find a way to fall in love with that. Now, whether
Okay.
you do it forcefully or you do it it happens naturally, that's up to you.
Hmm.
But for me, like I was good, lucky enough to have people like you and other friends that we have right around me,
Mm-hmm.
so that I could learn from them. I could get that knack or get that passion flowing into me, right? And I was very much attracted to the field, and I was very much attracted to the concept of software engineering. So first thing is, like, you have to have the passion for it to even go ahead about it.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've acquired the passion, once you've acquired the passion of problem solving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Generally, according to me, getting a promotion is very different from doing projects and doing tasks. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
take my promotions as tasks or projects.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to come and you need to do your goal setting, right? So
Mm-hmm.
according to me, having benchmarks for yourself is very important. 6 month checkpoints, 1 year checkpoints, and all these checkpoints are very important. So the bunch of
Mm-hmm.
aspects that I'm going to talk about, right? So first is like, I guess, passion we talked about. Second is like, these benchmarks, right? And how do you do this goal setting? So basically,
Mm-hmm.
you look up to someone, whether it's an SD3 in your team or maybe someone out there, right? You look up to people, bunch of people. You see traits, and you see
Mm-hmm.
which one do you relate to. So you try
Mm-hmm.
acquiring them. You try doing imitating them. So you
Mm-hmm.
need to understand how these people are doing and what are they doing at the next level. So in order to get promoted, you already have to be at the next level to be noticed to get promoted, right? So
Okay.
do that goal setting for yourself and see how much is achievable. So realistically talking, right? So if you look at someone and you see, okay, this guy is expert in this field, he knows about all about technology, right? If you look at
Mm-hmm.
some other guy, you see that, okay, he's so proactive, he's into the team building, and he's earning so much trust from the team. So you
Mm-hmm.
see all these aspects and you see, okay, what is the SD2 role generally, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you do benchmarking. Okay, probably I want to do this and I want to do it. Not in terms of projects will come and go, designs will come and go. It's the whole package. You have to be a package to be noticed, and
Mm-hmm.
have to, so that people notice you out of all the others, and what you bring to the table, right? And then you have to think above and beyond yourself, which is the thing that helped me the most. So which is like when you're working, right? So it's not that you have to be focused on yourself. So you have to look at the greater good of the team. You have to help others. You have to be a nice person to, in terms of like helping out others, right? And then you have to see like what your manager needs, what your team needs. So you have to look at the bigger picture, contribute to the bigger picture. So be part of the ecosystem, and help drive the ecosystem and increase the, or maybe better the culture at your team, in your team. So that ways you will evolve, as so will people, and that will build up a very good cycle, and for you, and a very positive culture, and then things will automatically fall in place. You designs and tasks, they will automatically come to you, and you'll be able to do it because you're learning so much from others. So according to me, that mindset is more important than the task and approaching the task.
Okay. Okay. So basically, building the traits and actually trying to perform at that level is important to actually be at that level. You got promoted, you actually shifted to Canada. So, like, would you like to talk about that process? How did that happen?
Complete 1 year after your promotion in India, and then you can
Mm.
apply anywhere in the world. So you can move anywhere.
Okay. So, like, how does that process look like? Like, after you apply, like, how do you apply?
So the usual process is like, you reach out to a couple of managers, you find teams, right? So
Mm.
my only my only suggestion to everyone is like, don't look for places to go, look for
Okay.
teams, because
Mm.
places could have really bad teams with really bad culture, and you
Mm.
might not feel very good after, even after moving. So be very careful and keep an open eye. So talk to a bunch of managers, and
Mm.
let them sell to you, right? Let them sell the team
Mm.
to you, and go above and beyond. Reach out to people in LinkedIn, in the same team, and understand what they do before even committing. So once you have decided that, then probably what you have to do is like, get a verbal confirmation from the new hiring manager that,
Mm.
okay, I'm going to apply. Then you go to the then you talk to your current manager that you want to leave and explain the whole
Mm.
thing, and see how that goes. Then
Mm.
post that, you have to click on an apply button, go to the job ID that that manager on the job portal, apply it, and the process starts. And post that, the managers will meet and discuss your last date. So you have to complete your tasks, whatever is
Mm.
what the managers decide, right? Once you've done that, you can start with the new team. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Great. So let's suppose like everything is said and done. You are in Canada now. So which visa you are on? So like in Canada also there are two types of visa. One is an open work permit in which you can easily switch between different companies, and then there is closed work permit. So like if someone takes an internal transfer, what's the work permit that they get?
Okay, so if you go for an internal transfer, you are a closed work permit. You
Okay.
can't switch jobs, right? So
Hmm.
once you're here, you're here. So you can probably move
Hmm.
inside Amazon, but
Hmm.
you can't switch jobs. But there are
Okay.
other aspects to it, right? So
Hmm.
when you come here, so Amazon actually helps you with the PR process. So a lot of my
Hmm.
teammates who came here last year, they've already gotten their PR.
Hmm.
So it takes 6 months to apply for PR, and you'll get it in the
Hmm.
next 3 months. So probably 9 months to 1 year, you'll already
Hmm.
have a PR. After you have a PR, right, you can apply anywhere. So
Okay.
it's more of a restriction for the first year. And
Hmm.
Amazon helps a lot with the PR process. So all you have to do is just give them documents, they file you on their behalf. So it's pretty
Hmm.
straightforward.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I think we have covered almost everything that I wanted to discuss and which I think would be helpful for anyone. So like one last thing like I would like to ask you is that like the first question that I asked, like if you had an option of doing something differently, would you have done it?
Well, actually, so basically, I don't know whether you know it or not. So before joining Amazon, right? So I was
Hmm.
preparing for my MBA. I
Okay.
was going to give GMAT and CAT, so I was going to work product manager and everything. Now I work very closely with a lot of product managers. We're building a
Hmm.
new product, so you have to understand the next, and sometimes we have to take on the act for product manager. So for me, I think whatever decision I take, I'm very satisfied with it because
Hmm.
the problem solving part of it, right? So being a software engineer doesn't actually mean writing code and solving problems
Hmm.
altogether. At times you
Hmm.
have to define the problem, and not even the problem, right? At times you have to define the whole scope of it and why do you even want to do it, right?
Hmm.
You have
Hmm.
to be the antagonist at times and sometimes in the favor of the same thing. So you have
Hmm.
to play all the hats. So it's very interesting that you get to play all these things. You're basically your manager relies on you. Everyone is
Hmm.
relying on you as you grow up in the role.
Hmm.
So according to me, I'm very satisfied because I moved to a team which is starting from scratch and we're building products. So according to me, like for me, I wouldn't have done anything different.
I think we missed to discuss like there is a lot of debate that goes on between different colleges that if you are from this college you cannot do this or something like that. Tier 2, tier 3 people have made different tiers. So what do you think that whatever you have done, like a student from any college can do that, or do you think that college plays some role?
It doesn't at all. It's a complete
Okay.
myth. I have made more than 70 or 80 referrals in past 2 months, and people
Hmm.
have gotten clear. Most of the people from my college didn't even clear. So
Hmm.
from our college, they
Okay.
didn't even clear. So it doesn't matter at all. And even when you're working, right, the
Hmm.
smartest of people will come up, right.
Hmm.
I've worked with some senior Ps and I have some had some interaction with a lot of Ps, right, and they're from India and they'll be from colleges like which you would not consider as tier one, but that
Hmm.
doesn't make them or stop them in progressing in their careers, right? Like
Hmm.
people like us, we are looking up to them, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it is not a barrier at all, and
Hmm.
and even while interviewing, we take so many interviews, right? So
Hmm.
even while interviewing, there's no bias at all, no bias at
Hmm.
all. We don't even at times we don't even know what college the person is from, right?
Hmm.
So doesn't matter at all. Just you just work on your skills, and once you
Hmm.
join, you should keep that out of your mind. Just keep on honing your skills and keep on making connections, and that will take you very far.
Okay. And how much did DS and Algo play a part in all your complete journey?
To be very honest, not that much.
Not that much. Okay.
I mean, it's fine. So what it does to you, right? It basically alters your thinking a little bit.
Hmm.
That's what I feel, right? But to me, so system and design is like a it's like an open world, right? And you can
Hmm.
put and fit in any number of things, and there's nothing right or wrong. You
Right
put
or
in the
wrong. Yeah.
constraints, and then you justify the constraints, right?
Hmm.
So for the same design, one person could give pros for one approach and pros for another approach,
Hmm.
and like anyone can choose anything, right? So there's no right or wrong. But with DS Algo, they are perfect ways of doing things. So
Hmm.
basically, both combined, right? That analytical thinking combined with this free world, that
mm,
gives you a mix of a thought process where you are able to do and take analytical decisions out of this free world. So that,
mm,
according to me, has altered my thinking in a way that I am able to look for those pieces and those places to
mm,
optimize. Although the
mm,
correlation is not very much, there's not
mm,
a lot of correlation, right? But still, it changes the way you think. So,
mm,
according to me, that's the only role it has played. But
mm,
definitely, there are other core aspects of it. So there are teams specifically who work on those algorithms,
mm,
right? And I've
mm.
also built some POCs. So it's fine. They do come in handy here and there, but it's not that you'll use them in everyday life. So
Okay. So, but like for getting hired or getting an internal transfer, in that, how much role does it play?
So I did give a DS algo round for my internal transfer, which is not very normal. Usually,
Mm,
people don't take interviews, but if you move to AWS, there are interviews. For me, there was a design round also and DS algo round also. DS algo was pretty easy. Design was, I would say, it was more comprehensive in nature. So
mm,
obviously,
mm. Okay. Great. Okay. Yeah, I think we have covered everything now. So, any last thoughts or last tips
no, thank you so
for
much,
any?
man, for bringing me in. I don't know what how much I was able to help any one of these guys who will be watching this, but thank you for putting all the content that you do. And I
Mm,
read up all of that, and I'm
mm,
very happy that you're doing this for everyone.
mm,
Because we wish we would have had that kind of content so that we would look up to it, right?
mm,
Because when we were making our choices, we didn't know how right or wrong they were. So,
mm.
yeah, from probably from our experience and whatever you are gathering, a lot of people will get. So, great one.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thanks for taking out time to do this, especially on a weekend where
No
you
worries,
could
no
actually
worries.
have some fun in Canada.
No, this was so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah, I'm glad this was fun. And yeah, it was really great. And I hope anyone who has some plans, it clears up things like how to proceed further. And we can definitely reach out to you. I'll add your
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
for sure.
Yeah, thank
Sure,
you.
man. Thank you so much.